I've been thinking, bro, our average lifespan is about 70 to 80 years. How do we find meaning in this time on Earth?
That's a good question. But there's always a book. And Viktor Frankl provides an explanation to this. Let's dive in.
According to Viktor Frankl, the meaning of life is different for everyone, and there's no one absolute meaning. Viktor Frankl focuses on responsibility, which lies with the individual to finding their meaning and their own definition.
For example, using the chess analogy, there are different situations which require different actions and different moves. Whilst the chess pieces are identical, their purpose and use is dependent on the wider context of that particular situation, and thus will require specific actions dependent on the environment.
In other words, everyone has their own unique and specific vocation and mission to find and to carry out. The search for such vocation and mission in life brings meaning to our lives, which motivates us and keeps us driven, as without such meaning and motivation, we will be in a state of apathy and nothingness. He argues that individuals cannot be replaced or their life repeated.
Rather than asking for the meaning of life, life questions each man, and he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. To quote Viktor Frankl, ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of life is, but rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. According to Viktor Frankl, motivation arises through meaning, and meaning is more substantial if it is self-transcendent. Using some of Viktor Frankl's principles, here's a diagram we coined to illustrate how motivation is acquired through meaning. Firstly, identify self-transcendent meaning, point X, and work towards the realization of that meaning, point Y. Through this, we are motivated to achieve short-term and intermediate goals, which helps us in the realization of that meaning, point Y. Example, having a healthy lifestyle in order to spend time and be active with your children and grandchildren in the future. This meaning is self-transcendent because it goes beyond self and is focused on kids and grandkids even at old age. Through working towards the realization of such meaning, point Y, we are motivated to set and achieve short-term and intermediate goals such as reducing takeaways to once a week or perhaps running 2 to 3 times weekly. Here are 3 tools that Viktor Frankl brought up which can help us find meaning to life.
Work. Despite the difficult and gruesome situation Viktor Frankl faced in the Holocaust, he was able to stay motivated and persevere through a sense of mission and purpose. By discovering our sense of purpose and meaning, we can find work or aspects of the work which we already do, which helps to fulfill that purpose and meaning, thus helping us stay motivated and persevere through times of difficulty and struggle. And if the work that we do does not fulfill or align with such purpose and meaning, then we should consider switching our line of work. This is echoed by Viktor Frankl, who strongly advises against us being in an attentionless state. What man actually needs is not attentionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for a worthwhile goal, a freely chosen task. What he needs is not the discharge of tension at any cost, but a call of a potential meaning waiting to be fulfilled by him.
Self-transcendence, meaning that can be derived for something other than oneself, and realizing that you're a small part to a greater whole. For example, a woman struggling to quit smoking. She gets pregnant and is able to give up smoking for the benefits and the betterment of her unborn child. However, after the baby is born, she returns back to her old habits of smoking. She gets pregnant for a second time and is able to quit smoking for the betterment of her unborn child.
Responsibility and pandeterminism. Pandeterminism is the idea that human behavior is the symptom of biological and social conditions. In other words, it is the idea that humans do not have control over who they become, but instead simply become the people their genes and upbringing force them to become. Viktor Frankl is very much focused on the idea of responsibility rather than pan-determinism. He says that finding meaning and purpose in our lives is our responsibility and not anyone else's. While he concedes that we do not have full control over our sociological and biological factors, we have a level of responsibility in our attitude towards life.
So Prince, this is a great video. In summary, we've talked about Viktor Frankl's definition for, I guess, meaning to life. We touched up on the 3 2s: work, self-transcendence, and responsibility and pan-determinism. And there is one thing that I guess we want to have a discussion about, really, which is about work. And I guess if you're not finding any sort of like, fulfillment from the work you're doing, I think we touched up on finding the meaning to enjoy certain aspects of your life, or of your work, or I guess moving on, to find something that's more fulfilling. Yeah, so I just want to ask you a question. So can you elaborate, because I know you spoke of it briefly, can you just elaborate, just explain a little bit more on what your stance was in relation to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the important thing to note is that, when I say, move work, and when we say, I guess, move from one work to another, or trying to find purpose in the work you do, I think it's important to actually first sit down and, I guess, discover what your purpose is, or what that mission that you have of yourself is, find that meaning. Taking it to a personal example, sitting down and writing down what I wanted to achieve for myself, which was to kind of help others build their health, and kind of help others build, their health and their wealth and their lifestyle. I found that in the pharmacy work that I do, there's aspects of that work that can help me fulfill that purpose.
Okay.
And I think when you first sit down and actually write down what that purpose is, then you can actually, dissect whatever work that you're involved in, and you might possibly find that there's aspects of it which help you in achieving that goal or that purpose or that meaning. And then you can, you go to work feeling a lot more motivated and with a deeper sense of, purpose, I guess, in everything that you do.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that was like the main thing. And if you, after sitting down and writing down your mission or your meaning and your end goal, and you still find that work, there aren't aspects which fulfill, you being able to achieve that, then I guess at that point in time it's, possible to think about finding different options which can help you in achieving that goal.
Okay.
Work which can be much more fulfilling for you.
Okay, so I guess just to clarify, you're not saying that if you don't derive any fulfillment from work, the absolute, I guess, option is to leave your work. But
Not at all.
I guess the main thing is finding that meaning, so that then work actually comes under the umbrella of that meaning, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. That's spot on. Like I wouldn't suggest anyone to just quit your 9-to-5 job because you feel like you don't like it.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to kind of sit down and think about it. Other things. Yeah, first find out what that meaning is. Like Viktor Frankl did. What is that goal of yours, and what is that, self-transcendent meaning which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great stuff. Is there anything else you wanna? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a podcast where we touch up on principles and things that Viktor Frankl found really helpful during his time in the Holocaust. This is from a book that we read called Man's Search for Meaning, and the link is going to be in the description below for the podcast, so you can listen to it.
Yeah.
And like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much.
According to Victor... Beautiful. So despite the difficult and gruesome tasks and times which Viktor Frankl's... we have a level of responsibility in our... Start over again. Lips, yeah, looking juicy. The ladies in that, I'll tell you there's the ladies in that,
Fucking trim,
That'd be so weird.
Right, no trim.
Yeah, it's okay.
Jay-Z stuff. Self-transcendence. Self-transcendence. Here are 3 2s.